Welcome to another episode of Surrender, the first discussion of Peasants. I am Rob, and joining me today, as always, is Mr. Johnny G. and Brett. Where do babies come from? They come from at Silva. How are you all today?
Well, how are you, Rob?
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we're trying to get back on track. Brett and I both got COVID, which apparently, Brett, you were one of the asymptomatic people, right?
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, I can't imagine me not getting it, but at the same time, I don't know, maybe I didn't, and it was just a false positive.
Yeah, very, very strange. I got my taste back Sunday, and I'm going back to work tomorrow, so everything's good. Feeling great. So, with that said, we haven't done this for like a month or 3 weeks, so what has everyone been up to in their Conquest adventures? I can go first, actually. So, I didn't get a whole lot of painting done. I'm still working on Steel Legion primarily. I got all my Spire built, though. So, nice. I got 2 starter sets worth of Spire. I built them both. You might be able to see in the background. I got my 2 Abominations. I really need to find a way to display those better for the stream, but yeah, I've decided I'm also venturing into the Spire. I'm kind of going with like my old school wargaming philosophy where I'm like, oh, I'll play the 2 armies out of the starter box, because it's usually a cheaper introduction, and then, you know, over time when you play the game, it allows you to play a variety of races. So, what have you been up to, Brett?
I've been still building my marksman clones. I have a lot of stuff outside of Conquest going on, so my time is really split between a million things, but I'm almost done. I got a couple more bows to stick on, then it's just heads. But the thing that's giving me trouble are the damn quivers, because I can't figure out where to stick them on the back of the model.
So they go like to the side on the right. If you look and face it, they're facing you.
Mm-hmm.
They're like to the right on the side.
So like down near like the waist?
Yes, and they kind of go diagonal.
Yeah, they don't go like straight out to the side or down. Yeah,
exactly.
They go like okay.
Yep. Yeah,
cool.
It took me a while to think about it.
Yeah, I will say the Abomination, that thing is a son of a bitch to build.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that thing has to be. That has to be built in subsections, at least if you want it to. You can't try to throw that all together in one swoop.
Yeah.
I
think that's what I did, was I built like the body, and then I built the separate, limbs, and then, cause I had to go through the whole thing of posing it too. Like, this thing's gotta have a cool pose. And
exactly.
It was a task.
Yeah, yes. Once in a while you buy a model kit where you just learn new swear words. I still stand by the worst model kit I've ever built was the Undead Catapult from Mantic. I hate that thing. I
tried painting that, and I just gave up.
Yeah, I literally will say I hate it. I hate it, and I hope they discontinue that thing as soon as possible. I know their model kits have improved, but goddamn, Abomination. I feel like I even built worse ones, because I got 2 Abominations, and I kind of built them back to back, and the second time I built it, it was no problem. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And then, Johnny, what have you been up to? I think you've been painting little angry men, right?
Yeah, so I've been building some Dwagam. Also been working on the last of my Spires, getting the rest of it together, and I started painting the Ferromancer. Kind of been doing pretty good hobby-wise, so... next step is to just keep painting and get it all painted up. But
yeah,
Dwagam are interesting models to put together, but it's all good.
Yeah, I have a feeling like I physically look at the Dwaggle models. Wow. You know what I'm talking about. But I feel like they're definitely one of those models I look at online. I don't really care for the color scheme, I think, because I see other people's Dwaggle, and I'm like, oh, those look awesome. Like, are those actually the same models?
Right,
man.
And I think I was talking... I'm sorry. So
no, that's okay. It's just they're a little tricky to kind of assemble. I mean, I don't know. I think the key to assembling Conquest models is cutting them all off the sprues, cleaning them all up, and then putting them all together is kind of I found probably the most efficient way. If you try to just do one at a time, it takes a long time, and
I think that's part of the problem I was having with, at least with the marksman clones.
yes, just cut them all off, trim all the bits off, and shave off any mold lines or those little nubs.
Those little arrows
Yes.
have vexed me. Every arrow I've tried to take out of the sprue, I try to be as gentle and careful and calm as possible,
And they break.
and I mangle it. And I'm like, how do I do this?
Yes. That might be one of those things, if you really want them that bad, you can take a little thin brass rod and glue the arrow tip on it and then the feather tip on the other end and use it like that.
Yep.
That's just a tip from way back modeling.
Yeah, so I guess that is that's us caught up. So I guess we're gonna dive right into it. So we're clearly a month behind on everything, and that's just the level of professionalism that comes with us running the show. But we're gonna be talking.
By the way.
Yeah, but sometimes plagues do that. So I'm gonna bring up the some of the teaser models I screen capped directly from the YouTube. So let's hope that goes through on the stream. Oh, it does.
Yes.
Okay, I actually brought it up on my phone. So I believe we know for a fact that these are the new models, and also I have the Ward Rune on a whole other panel because I feel like that justifies a whole other its own separate panel. So I guess Johnny, since you're the Dwagone player, I think it's, man, I've already forgot the name of the two new units. The Helldrake something or other, like the Helldrake Obliterator thing, and the Stone guy. I remember. Oh man, the level of professionalism here.
Yeah.
The Hellbringer Drake and the Herald of Stone. So
yeah.
So Hellbringer Drake.
So we haven't seen. I haven't seen stats for any of these yet.
Okay, so I was going to go over the stats real quick. So Hellbringer Drake, it's a monster. Its class is medium. It's got 8 movement, 2 volley, 1 clash, 8 attacks, 10 wounds, 3 resolve, 3 defense, and 2 evasion. It's 180 points. It has Cleave 1, Terrifying, Barrage 10 with a 20-inch overcharge. So obviously...
Ooh, we have some stats. I think it's going to be about 7 inches high.
Yeah, I think...
It's on a 200... It's on a 200 millimeter base.
Yeah, we've actually seen this model, I think, for a while.
Yeah.
And it's big and nasty. Like, literally, even though it's got 2 guns strapped to it, you're kind of marching and shooting, right? And then, yeah. So
exactly.
It's pretty cool too. It's cool that all faction minus 100 kingdoms are getting monsters. Yeah. Is that high on your priority list?
Yes, very much so. I mean, who doesn't want that thing?
Yeah, Chris Nye, the Conquest guy, he says the number 2 most asked question: when is the dragon coming out?
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, it's a cool model. I definitely think that could be one of the most iconic miniatures for the game. Definitely, when people start playing at game stores again, they're like, "Oh my God, what is that thing?"
Right.
And then we got the Herald of Stone, who is... You can only have 1 per army. While Herald of Stone is alive, stands in the regiment have Bastion Draw event. In addition, any character in the regiment has +1 defense while fighting in a duel. So this is actually very similar to the 100 Kingdom Arms Master, to an extent. So it's kind of like you take this guy to buddy with another character in the regiment, and he gets better. So, I mean, in your list that you're building, Johnny, since you're the most experienced Dwaggle player, are you like trying? Do you build your list with the idea of trying to duel to like assassinate other characters?
Yeah. So far, I've only played them once, and I've been getting around at the army list and all that. And I've been trying to use the Fire Forged, so a little ranged, and the ballista. But I surely would give that thing a try. Absolutely. I mean, eventually you end up pretty much in contact with the enemy, correct?
Yeah.
So who doesn't want the Herald of Stones smashing down on your opponent, right?
Right. Okay, so moving on, we got the bow chosen for the Nords. Pretty hefty, 240 points for 3 stands. Their Barrage 2, 24-inch and piercing shot. So I don't think any of us play Nords, but I know Josh is, so maybe he has some thoughts. I think he's in chat.
Yes, he does. Actually, I played against him in his Nords.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
It went well. He smacked me around in the beginning for a while, and then I came back in the end, but not enough to win the game. But it wasn't unbalanced match at all. It was pretty. I didn't use some of my units the way they probably should have been used. Again, just first game, trying to feel them out, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. The Nords are cool, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And yes, as Chris pointed out, and I didn't notice actually, because that's the thing I'm not looking at with a ranged unit is wounds, is they have 2 wounds apiece. And precise shot is basically, from my understanding, if I remember correctly, it's an auto kill on a 1. So, we were talking about beforehand, we were talking about the Hunter Cadre and Longbowmen and the Marksman clones, but man, looking at these again, 240 points, someone in chat said that they're worth every single point. Movement 6, Volley 2, Clash 3, 1 attack, 2 wounds apiece, 3 resolve, 1 defense, and 0 evasion. That's a pretty nice unit. That sounds like something if I was a Nord player, that's definitely a very nice light infantry to bring in.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, that would, and they also look very nice too. I will say that all these models, but I have to say this guy probably wins the best name out of all the new stuff. He's called a Shield Biter, who's the Nord command model. While the Shield Biter is alive, the regiment adds 2 to its charge rolls. In addition, any character in the regiment has +1 attack while fighting in the dual action. So again, very similar to Herald of Stone. He kind of is like BFFs with a character you want to go into a duel with. He's like the ultimate cheerleader. So yeah, and I imagine Nords want to duel quite a bit, because I know one of the things we're going to be talking about later is the whole like Hero Hammer controversy and all that. So I imagine a lot of these characters are going to be, I guess, important to the people who care about the meta. So moving on, we go to the Hunter Cadre. Is that how you say it? Or do I sound like a dork?
No, that's right. Hunter Cadre.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the American English way of saying it. There's another way of saying it, like Carta or something like that, but I don't like that one. It's weird.
So they're 180 points. They're light infantry, movement 5, volley 2, clash 3, 1 attack, 1 wound, 3 resolve, 1 defense, 2 evasion. They got fearless, fiend hunter, cleave 1, barrage 1, same as crossbowmen, 20 inches, armor piercing 1. So they're pretty cool. They seem like the kind of dudes I can just bring to kind of do what I need to. They can pop shots. It looks like they can do okay in melee, but really hunting the fiend hunter is pretty cool, and also the fearless. It almost is like they kind of want to be matched up against the abominations, which is it's kind of a cool niche that fits in for them. And I just think they also look sweet. I like the flavor of these guys. I feel like in most army lists I might take 3 stands. I just think they're cool. and I really like the models. And then we got the Arms Master. So the Arms Master, while both an Arms Master and a Noble are alive in the regiment, the clash characteristic of the regiment is increased by 1. So that's very nice. That is really nice. So personally, I think going forward with my 100 Kingdoms, when I do get a hold of some Household Guard, and I'm going to be putting my Noble in there, obviously. It sounds like I'm going to want his buddy, Mr. Arms Master, to come with him, because just adding a clash characteristic of 1 is just bananas. It sounds pretty awesome. Yeah, considering they're already throwing, a lot of attacks being support too. And then that concludes 100 Kingdoms. So now we're going to go into the Spires, which is just 2 command models. We got the Catabolic Node. So Brett, do you want to describe the Catabolic Node?
Yeah, what a model.
Yeah, so the Catabolic Node is a bomb.
Yep. It's a big meaty bomb.
Yep.
So, the first time the regiment uses a clash action, roll 2d6. The bio bomb inflicts the number of hits on one enemy regiment in contact with its regiment. It also inflicts a number of hits on its own regiment equal to the highest score. Of the individual d6 rolled, hits are always treated as if they've been inflicted from the front. Then remove the Catabolic Node model as a casualty and replace it with a spare rank and file model. So yeah, this seems pretty cool. Like, honestly, I just feel like truth be told, I kind of just want to take, like, for every force-grown drone unit I have, I just want to take it because of fluff. I'm just like, yeah, go forward, just go bomb, their battle lines.
Just be the bomb carriers, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much just, like, 3 stands of just, basic bitch drones. Just like, yeah, just go ahead and just boom. Alright. So that's pretty cool. And then there's the Ward Preceptor, which is the cool-looking guy. He's definitely, I think, tied for, one of the cooler-looking ones with the hook hand. He's got the shield up, but he's also got a sword too. Which, yes. From this view, it almost looks like a very human sword.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah.
I'm like, that looks too normal for the Spires.
Yeah. But that doesn't look grown.
Right. Exactly. His thing is pretty straightforward. While he's alive, the regiment has the Bastion draw event, so that's pretty nice. I always think Bastion is just a great thing to have. That adds, a defense on the draw event. So you will have to use it before you think they're going to get hurt, but good. I like all these models. Definitely going to be getting both for my 100 Kingdoms and my Spires. So that's, yeah. And anyone have anything to say about the rest of this hootenanny?
I'm gonna be all in on all of those myself.
Yeah.
This catalog drop is pretty awesome, actually.
I'm definitely interested in the Ward Preceptor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially where, like, the Spires are such a, like, the biggest chunk of their army are the force-grown drones that are there to just die and get in the enemy's way. Having something that actually makes whatever it's stuck in with tougher and can take a bit more of a beating is a nice break.
Absolutely.
Nice. Okay, so, and I guess I can't really see it from where I'm doing it at my control station, but Josh said that the Ward Protector actually has a little dagger arm.
Nice.
That's the little sword.
Oh, is that the little sword? See, it looks like
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if it's just the scale, if it's a little deceptive, because it just looks like a straight up like human longsword, but that could be because it's compared to everything else and it's not quite to scale. Because I guess actually from this it looks more like a brute than anything else. All right, so we're gonna move on to the Wardrune, which I don't think we still have a ton of information on, so a lot of this is going to be speculation. So we got, what is it? Technically we got 6 model kits, right? And then we got 2 characters, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, we got 6. because 2 of them are dual kits. So, Brett, I know you have access to the catalog open, so do you want to run down the list of what we're looking at?
Yeah, so the units we're seeing are in one dual kit. I think are the Wardrune Blooded and the Wardrune Braves. You know, you get the kit and you pick which one you want to do. I get the impression that your Wardrune Braves are your really super basic warriors. I hesitate to say bread and butter, and the Blooded are like not so much your veterans, but your next step up. Better weapons, better armor. Something more of a
A little more
mainstay.
elite, maybe.
Yeah, and then you got your slingers and spear throwers, which I think that's really just comes down to what flavor of range do you like? Do you want to just drown the enemy in projectiles, or do you want to like be a little more precise and try to bring shit down as quickly as possible?
Yeah, so actually, kind of as you're have an interest in medieval ancient warfare, what is actually the benefit between having slings and spears?
Well, hurling spears, it's a bigger projectile with more weight behind it, not as much speed or range. But if you pitch a spear into something's chest or face, that means it's done. Um, Slings are a very simple to make, way simpler to make and use than a bow. And ammunition you don't have to craft. You really just pick up a rock and go, all right, is this good enough? Yeah, it'll do. Um, and you can, especially if you have a bunch of them, you can just literally do the Hobbit thing and pelt the enemy with rocks.
Right.
Humans did that for vast periods of their development.
All right, and then what else we got?
So we have the raptors. A little bit of lore digging. All the raptor riders are apparently female because the female Wardrune are better able to bond with other forms of life, and my goodness, they look so fucking cool.
Yes.
They're just
They're amazing.
orcs with spears riding on the backs of feathery raptors, and I love it.
Yes. They are beautiful.
And then we have the Warbred, which I'm trying to get as zoomed in as I can on them. These appear to be just the Wardrune equivalent of brutes, in terms of the battlefield role. They're just really big dudes that might be carrying really big clubs. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
standard brutes. I don't think there's anything really complicated about those guys. And then what do we got for characters?
All right, so characters. Let me flip the page, and then zoom back out. So we have the Predator, which
great looking.
I think, yeah, it's a fantastic looking model. I think it's meant to be put in with like one of your ranged units to make them more hunty killy. I think I'm not 100%.
Well, what makes you think that?
I'm trying to find. I think because the Predator is part of the Wardrune Hunter cast. I don't know if that means hunt for food, or if that means hunt the enemy. Which, from what it said for the spear throwers, who are the majority of the food acquisition hunting dudes, they are referred to as hunters. So that's what makes me think that the Predator is meant to go in with a ranged unit.
Yeah, or they're going to be the mainstay choices.
Yeah.
So that'll be like the core. No, that makes sense.
Yep.
And then there's the Scion of Conquest, which appears to be a war priest.
Which he is my favorite, I think, out of all those models. Is, I don't know, I really like it. Something very piratey about him. And like,
yeah. Yeah, I don't know if he's necessarily going to be a caster or what, but I think he's definitely made for being put with your, foot slogger or elite warrior units.
Yeah, so maybe like the spear throwers, the sling throwers, and the raptor people are going to be, mainstay, or they're going to be with the predator, and then the brutes and the two melee units are going to be with
The Scion.
yep. Yeah, so
That
no,
makes sense to me.
yeah, very cool. I know, Brett, you're definitely looking at these guys for second army.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they're great, and I'm curious to see. I think they said that the Spartan army is going to be the next one, and that's going to be what I have my eyes on. But I'm going to try and keep myself to 100 Kingdom Inspires. I'm going to try and stay true to myself, but let's see how well let's see how well my willpower can go.
I'm not even bothering to resist, to be honest.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, all right. So I transferred back to our beautiful visages. So Johnny, I know real quick before we go into the discussion about the big talk of the community, do you want to go over your playthrough of First Blood?
Yeah, so let's talk real quick about the releases for First Blood. I can give you that real quick.
Oh yeah.
So in January, releases coming out. Warband release is coming out, so you can buy a box ready to go to play First Blood. It comes with 2 heroes and a handful of models. Probably looks to be maybe 20, 25 models. Might be a little more. I can't see on the box how many.
Yeah, it looked like it came with like a character and like 2 or 3 stands of different units. So I think like the 100 Kingdoms were like a noble, you got household guard, and you got like men at arms or something like that.
And I think you get a caster too, because on the cover of the Nords you get the shaman and the blooded, and you get ogre, so you get a heavy unit or a medium, and so they're going to release them for all 4 factions, and then Wadroon will get one once their release comes. Also, they're coming out with these faction First Blood faction tasters. So
I think that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, so with those, you'll get a hero and a handful of
You're cutting out big time.
To get started. And oh, okay.
No,
Can you hear me
yes.
now?
Yeah.
It's good.
Yep, you're good.
All right. Yeah, so those tasters you'll get to be able to give it a whirl, try it out, and you're not going to dump a ton of money into the game right off. There'll be game mats too for those, which is cool. A lot of cool stuff coming out. The first game I had, me and Josh played a few rounds of the game. It's good. It plays a lot like Conquest, of course. You're not using the trays and all that, and it's character heavy. And
so is it from my understanding, is it basically like the equivalent between the difference between like a game of Warhammer 40k and Kill Team?
Yeah, kind of like that. Yes, I would say. It's some people like. Is it like Mordheim? It's not really like Mordheim, where it's a small little war band. It's more on the larger end of a large war band with a couple of heroes and a caster or something. At the point cost. I think it's like 600 points is what a base game of that is. You can go higher or lower if you want to, but if you're going to go higher, maybe you want to play Conquest. I'm not sure, but I'd like to play it a few more times and get my head around it and see how it goes. But it was fun for sure. It's definitely a game.
Yeah. I when I was sick and I was just kind of like killing time, I would definitely flip through First Blood rules. I definitely think I'm more interested in the mass battles than I am the skirmish aspect of it, but I think it's a cool way to maybe introduce people into the universe without dropping a ton of money. Because my guess is those taster box aren't. Do we have a price on those yet?
I'm not sure. I would probably say around $40. You know.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a very fair introduction.
Yeah, because you're gonna get your hero and then two unit types.
Yep.
For the taster, and then the warband be a little more expensive, I'm sure. Because they'll have.
Can I also say, like, I don't know who marketed the word taster, but I feel like that's so perfect. It's because like it's almost like a drug, right? Like, here, have a taste. Have a taste of this.
Yes.
See how you like it. You'll be back for more.
Exactly. And First Blood will be really cool if they come with a campaign system for that as well. Also, tournament-wise, it'll probably be much faster to play. And if you want to dive into playing that style of game, Chris on the Underspire has his own kind of rule set for the smaller version of that too, which is I've only seen him play it on video. It looks really good, so I can recommend that as well. Yeah, I mean it's kind of offering up two games in one, which is fantastic, and hence the circle bases with the square trays, which is fantastic. So, good stuff.
All right. So I guess we're going to go into our final segment, our final discussion of Peasants, if you will. So we are going to be talking about what seems to be a huge discussion going on in the community, and that is going to be talking about the differences in table sizes, as I see a hiss in chat.
Well, I have some news for that. I did speak to someone from the company on that, and what I got from that is that they're testing 3 potential sizes in beta as it's been going on in Tabletop Simulator. You can play on there, and all the sizes are there. 4x4 for the First Blood skirmish, and or smaller games of Conquest. The 44x60 for around 1,000-point army, and 4x6 for the full mass battles. So that they are trying to make it so that there's a game for everyone, because you can't make everyone happy, but you can try to make as many people as you can happy, right? So a lot of people, the game came out playing 4x4 and 4x6. Hence, I think adding the third option was a lot of people are using those mats for other game systems as well. So, it makes sense in some aspects, and, it'll be nice if they have a system where, if your group in your store plays only 4x4, then tournaments will be played in 4x4, and that's official, right? Or if my store plays in the new size that people are playing in other game systems, and then 4x6 for the people, they offer it in all 3, and it's all official. So, you can say, because some people won't play even casual games unless they're on actual official size, right?
So this is my broad kind of understanding of the scenario, and I think one of the reasons this has rustled people's jimmies in particular. So, back in the day, wargaming was, I feel like, a lot different. It was a lot closer, it was a lot more tight-knit. I mean, even, this was before my time, but, war games required a DM to sit there and kind of tell you what happened. So, but nowadays, it's more about, oh, I'm going to go to my local game store. Oh, this game looks cool. What night do you have games? Oh, we're going to do this. Because, I don't know, just somehow through, geek culture, tabletop culture, it didn't really, I guess at some point it stopped becoming about playing with your friends on, getting into a game together. I'm very fortunate to have Brett, who I play the majority of my games with. We build them, we build non-competitive lists, we always do cool scenarios we want to play. So I have always been very blessed in that regard. However, because the way things are now, let's say, for example, Brett didn't exist. If I wanted to play, or let's say Johnny didn't exist, let's say Josh didn't. Let's just pretend a lot of people didn't exist. And in my circumstance, so I would have to, drive all the way to the armory. And, I'd have to be like, okay, I want to play this game. And, right off the bat, you don't sit down and be like, I really like this idea of a thematic game where my guys ambush you in a canyon, right? Like, you need those standard... It's like D&D, too. When you start playing with new people, you stick to that book as close as you can. You're not going to bust out, 90 homebrew rules if you're playing with an entirely fresh group of people you never knew, right? So, and I think the reason why people are upset is because that is kind of the mentality of how gaming is nowadays, right? Is these tournament rules that are written dictate also the standard in which you go to a game store, you say, let's play a game, here we go. Because at some point in time, that community aspect was lost, right? So the fact of the matter is that Parabellum sat down and they're like, hey, we're thinking of switching to this, right? And all of a sudden, that is a standard. For, gosh, I don't want to even shoot it, but I want to say, for the majority of people, that all of a sudden became the standard. So...
people need to also realize that they did announce it as beta. The game has only been out for a year and a couple of months, right?
Well,
so they're trying to shape, get opinions and try to, build the best game possible.
Well, also here I get it, but here's also the thing too, is a lot of people, and I think the people who got defensive they were fans of Warhammer Fantasy. And do you know how many times those people have got hurt? Do you know how often they got hurt? And it is a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, I will say.
Yeah.
But it's worrying, because when the company says something like that, it's taken as gospel, right? You know what I mean? Example, Brett and I, we play A Song of Ice and Fire. We don't play that game super rulebooky. We don't use any of the terrain that comes out of the box because we like pretty terrain. And we play on a 6x4, not a 4x4. Those are just the two things, because those are just what we prefer to do. But, if I try to, bust out, my really night, if I go to, a pickup game with someone on there, and I'm just like, oh, I got my cool, tabletop world terrain, and we're going to play on a 6x4, they're like, oh, what? No, that's not how you play the game.
Yeah, or you go to an organized event, and you're going to play, the standard, right?
Right, you're going to dictate what that matched play is. Right. I do like the idea of multiple game sizes. In fact, actually, I don't know if someone in chat can correct me on this, is... in old fantasy, did the table scale with points? I feel like it did at one point. I could be imagining it completely, but very much how you describe. Because I remember that's actually how it... Did it not? I'm trying to think. There was a war game that did that. That was like, when you play this amount, the table's this much. When you expand to this much, it expands to that. So,
was it Rune Wars? Did you play that, or?
No, I didn't play Rune Wars, but I could have read it somewhere. But I and I think maybe some missions, some points values could be played on multiple table sides. that could even add an interest to the game, right? Like if you're doing kill points or something, maybe that could be better on a 4x4 because it's just representing, your armies slapping meat, right? Slapping biomass. So
Yep.
Yep.
I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on this because I know Johnny, you're kind of a company person on this. So
Well, I get it. I mean, if there's options, again, like I was saying, if store plays only 4x4 and they want to run a tournament and that's what they're going to use, that's cool. Every leave it so that it's official but open, so that or hey, we're going to run a tournament. It's going to be 4x4, whatever that middle size is, and then 6x4. Is everybody cool with that? And everybody's fine. Okay, that's official. Like make the 3 official, and give it that. And you can. I don't play in a lot of tournaments. I do like organized play to some degree. Depends on the system and all that. But I mostly play. I mostly play like at my friend's house or whatever, at a shop with my friends, or even in my wife's shop, right, Rob?
yeah, we managed to fit an alpha gaming table in there, sucked in our gut for like 2 hours. It was a good time.
Yeah, it worked. So, and I like narrative play. I like camp. I like that kind of stuff. I'm not. I like all of it mostly, but like I said, I know people are kind of freaking out right now, and I don't think there's nothing to get too worried about. I think Chris is doing a YouTube video tomorrow to kind of go over stuff too, and
yeah. So
this thing's going to be happening for Conquest a lot.
Right. So, Chris, it says I think the tournament size is officially going to go to 60 by 44, which is 5 feet by 4 feet, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I think that's
If math is correct in my brain, which is a whole foot cut off from the flanks. And one thing I will say, if we're going to compare it to the company who set this trend, Games Workshop is the company that decided we're going to make our boards smaller. And here's the thing. In those particular games, I think actually a smaller table can be beneficial, mostly because movement doesn't matter in that game anymore. You don't have to get behind tanks to deal more damage. It's just the amount of inches from your gun to their face. That's the primary strategy with that game. So when you're playing measurements, I think it's fine the way it is. However, I think for rank and file games, when you need to wheel, especially when a gimmick of the game is you send up people so you can come in on the flanks, like it's very strange if there was a scenario where it's like, okay, play on a 4x4 with 2,000 points. Like, okay, so I will play devil's advocate here. I will play devil's advocate because Chris wanted me to be devil's advocate. So let me tell you, a strategy of having a smaller board is they want you to play more aggressive. They want you to remove stuff off the board quicker so you can make room for other stuff. And, looking at a game, almost, and this is going to be a weird-ass comparison, but again, playing devil's advocate here, is a game like League of Legends, right? You have 3 lanes, and Conquest could be the same. The fact of the matter is you have a center lane, you have a left flank, and a right flank, and basically you have to start winning those lane battles in order to start dominating certain parts of the table.
Right.
But is that actually, and then that also goes down to a game philosophy theory, right? Do we want this game to be about outmaneuvering your opponent, getting those flank and rear charges, or do we want this game to be about power in deciding what lane you're putting your unit in? And I think that is a choice for the game designer.
Right.
So really, that's my personal opinion on it. It's I think one of the reasons it caused. Sorry. Do you have something to say?
No, that's
No.
no.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
No, I was going to say my primary thing is the fact that, people go to game stores nowadays, either their buddies stopped playing or, they don't want to get into another game. So when you want to go play these really, pricey and time-consuming games, you got to go to Battlegrounds, you got to go to the Armory, and you got to play. And, of course, when you're playing with someone you don't know, you have to play, by the rules. And the fact of the matter is that rule book really the most effective way to look at the game as a whole?
Right.
So, I think you brought up some things like having the table scale based on the point size. I personally like that quite a bit because we do talk about the time we play Song of Ice and Fire mostly on a 6x4, but we do play on 4x4s when we want to play smaller games. Sometimes we do.
Right.
Play that.
Yeah.
And I've played Conquest on a 4x4, not 2,000 points. I've played 600 and I think 800, and it played very well. It was perfect. But I think as you definitely go up to that higher level of points, you do want the bigger scale size,
Actually, one thing I was thinking about, and I don't know how much potential cheese this is, but let's also say the 4x4 became the standard. How many inches does a stand in Conquest? Does anyone have one on hand? Yeah, because I'm curious, say if you have something... Oh, okay, 2.5 inches. Thank you. Thank you, chat. So,
I was going to say 3 inches, but I'm off.
Because I was going to say, could you buy, 10 stands of Force-grown drones and just, march them up? And just kind of be, annoying like that? It almost makes me think, do you guys remember reading about that time about the Kroot player playing the White Scars player?
Yes.
And so, alright, so I'm going to give you the story, because it's probably, the funniest story in, tabletop gaming. So basically, this guy had a really powerful White Scars army, where back in the day of 40k, you could start with no deployment and all your guys come through reserves, which means he can come from wherever he wants on a table. Now, the Kroot player, he had an infiltrate rule, which means he could deploy anywhere from the table edge. So basically, he had enough Kroot to conga line and cover the table, just completely surround every single inch of the table. And he automatically killed the White Scars player before turn 1 because the White Scars couldn't enter the battlefield. So, yeah, it's the most wild thing.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so I mean,
and we don't want this game to become that. Let's make that clear.
Yeah, so I guess I'm going to end in my rant, my thoughts in a positive aspect is, somebody in chat, and also my personal thought, mentioned this. Parabellum listens to their player base. There has been cheese before, and I believe a lot of the cheese has been patched. Obviously, some new cheese is going to be fermenting, but that cheese can also be, cut and removed over time. This is still a new game. We haven't even seen all the units for all the armies. I know people have played them, but, things will evolve, and I think it's important to take advantage of a company that listens, because especially while they're small, because they can definitely pick the direction they want. I think they hear people, and I think the table situation's gonna be, old news in a week or two.
Probably.
With that said, also, I think something in the wargaming community, and this isn't targeting at Games Workshop, is there's this whole tournament winning, win at all cost mentality that has just spawned. People don't really care about the narrative aspect anymore. They don't care about the hobby aspect. There's actually something called T-Sports now, and people have uniforms like they're esports players. And, as the problem is, as a community, that is what made them popular. Now, as the Conquest community, we have the choice to dictate what is the norm for this game. We can choose to be, we're just another tournament game where you just spend money on the thing that wins. Or we could be a little different. We could go the path of the Underspire, of the hard work that Chris has done and says, look at all these cool narrative ideas. Look at all these homebrew ideas we have for this game. And that is what I challenge the Conquest community to, is I don't care about your tournament winning list. I think, good for you, you can do some math. I want to hear about your character's backstory. I want to hear how you came up with maybe a cool idea how to implement that in your game against your friends. I want to know your regiment's name and how they got that name. You know, I want to know how the Browntown Shamblers became the Browntown Shamblers.
Exactly.
And that
exactly.
And my personal closing words is, let's build a community that's unique to all the other communities out there. And I think that really starts, it starts with us.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Sure.
totally. I mean, there are a lot of games out there that's winning at all cost, and the list is this and the list is that, and all that stuff. I don't want to see this game become that. I really don't. I mean,
so
I
saw something on Facebook that absolutely made me want to vomit, and I forget who actually posted this on Facebook. It was one of the big 40K internet personalities, and they had an advertisement of a blurred out army list, and they were like, oh, do you want this auto win tournament list? Sign up for our Patreon. And that shit makes me want to vomit. Oh my god, if that is something that people want, that's trash. It's a trash. I can't entirely blame Games Workshop because they're
and what's the end result for that? You won a tournament. I mean, okay, you got a special edition miniature. Why don't you go have fun? Everybody play for fun and try to win, of course, but not. It's not like win at all costs or like
right. Yeah, there's
you're pushing around little man dollies and having fun, and that's our hobby, and we paint them and we have fun, and why make it that?
Yeah, to use an old turn of phrase, it's not about the winning, it's about playing the game.
Yeah, let's just have fun, and again, if you win, amen, hallelujah, great job, dude. Yep. And if I win, cool, let's have a beer and play on.
Yeah, and I'll tag one more reason why people possibly have that personality, and not to almost shill what we're doing right now, but the fact of the matter is, when people start winning those tournaments, they become more noticed. They start podcasts, they start articles, and that can lead to, this could potentially, and then other, their website gets a lot of traffic, their streams get a lot of traffic, their YouTube gets a lot of traffic, and then all of a sudden, I can start making revenue from this. On top of also that flexing, it's like, people like my personality and they want to listen to me. And, that's also another thing too. But again, I challenge the Conquest community to not go down that path. Let us talk about homebrew. Let us keep, Chris, please keep that content on the Underspire going. A lot of people really appreciate that. And that's pretty much all I got to say. So, is that a good way to close the show?
Yeah, I mean,
definitely.
Same thing. Yeah, Chris, keep it going. How about a shout out to the Gamers Garage, and their podcast is absolutely fantastic. They do a great job over in Australia. I think it's Reese and Monty. If you haven't listened, have a listen. Parabellum.
Yeah.
Let's keep this game going great, right?
Yep. Listen to us.
Yes.
Keep your ear to the social media. You're doing great. you know, there's a lot of hurt feelings in the past, and a lot of people are using this game to fill their game wounds. You know, part of me is falls into that category, and I know some others are. So yeah, shout out to, what is it, the Vanguard Garage?
Gamers Garage.
Gamers Garage.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't want to lose the stream, but please, when we stop playing, can you stick around? We're gonna raid one of my buddies' channels, who I think is doing D&D right now. So if you don't mind giving them some love, that would be great. So we're gonna come back. Not next Tuesday. Is the Tuesday after? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is it that New Year's? No, it's not. Okay. Oops. Anyways, so everyone have a good night, and yeah, have a good holiday.
Keep on conquesting.